Okay, so I feel like this is gonna be a controversial one. So let's do this now while it's topical, but also no one is watching my videos because I'm sensitive and I don't want people to yell at me. I'm gonna be honest, I want to talk about this because it is bugging me. Okay, I admit it. It's something that is bugging me a little bit. I want to preface this by saying that I am no expert on, TTRPG history or design. I admittedly don't even know Daggerheart or its rules very well. I think it's probably a perfectly fine game, but I haven't played it. I haven't even really watched anyone play it yet, including the Critical Role folks. But what I have seen is a very particular discourse around the game, particularly about one aspect of the rules, which, has been quite loud. And that's the part that I feel qualified to talk about and what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the whole, no turn order thing that has apparently been blowing people's minds. And I want to kind of respond directly to some comments I've read. Just like before, I'm not going to include names because I don't want to call out anyone specifically and target anyone just in case. But I am going to read some of them. They're not going to appear on screen. First of all, in case you don't know, Daggerheart is a new tabletop role-playing game from the folks of Critical Role's Darrington Press. A lot of people have their own opinions about this game and the mechanisms and the design, and all that is very well and good. But one thing that I have seen coming up in conversation is that there is no initiative system and no formal turn order for combat. This has been a hot topic that I have seen around. But the lack of a formal initiative system or turn order has been around for a long time already. I have a lot of players in my game. I feel like there not being a proper initiative would be incredible chaotic for them. I have some inverted people at my table that would not be able to jump in. They need the turn-based system to do their thing. I definitely don't think Daggerheart is for everyone. It requires you to be invested in the story and isn't for shy players, but I think if you're not shy, it's so much more fun. If you have a lot of extroverted friends and you want to sit and watch them play a TTRPG, choose Daggerheart. It's okay if there are introverts at a table. For what I found, the game is a nightmare for them. It's a horrible system. It encourages power gamers and punishes introverts. Daggerheart has a much greater risk of power gamers. I don't want to fight with a player who's trying to take every turn. Do you love power gaming? Are you the main character in this story and all your friends are your side characters? Are you certain you're the funniest friend? Try Daggerheart, apparently. Sounds like a lot of crosstalk if not planned properly. As someone who plays at a table where two players are very assertive and two players are very shy and hold back, and I am constantly trying to get them to participate more, this doesn't seem like a game for that table, which is fine. Not everything is for everyone. And one more. It just doesn't work if you play with people that don't know each other, are introverted, have power games, or just people that are already problematic in all other TTRPGs. But here they get the free reign to ruin the experience for everyone. This system is made for Critical Role and not random online play or table groups at all, which is sad. Look, I get it. For a lot of people, Dungeons & Dragons is your entry point into tabletop RPGs, and for a lot of people, they stay there. And I'm not going to be that person telling you, you can't love D&D and it's a crap game and you need to stop playing and try something else. Maybe it is a crap game. However, I am not an expert in good and bad game design, and neither am I an expert in Daggerheart or D&D systems. I am a strong proponent of personal preference, and maybe they're right. Maybe Daggerheart isn't for everyone. And that is okay. Like that person said, I don't even know if it's for me. I am willing to give grace because if D&D is your entry point, it does make sense that you're expecting initiative from a combat system. D&D is, as the first system for a lot of people, it normalized the idea of rolling for turn order, management movement, tracking actions, bonus actions, reactions, all of that. It's a very structured, tactical approach, but that's not the only way to do it. And more importantly, it's never been the only way. Although the common talking points around Daggerheart would make you believe otherwise. There are a tremendous number of very popular and beloved games, some of which have been around for over a decade, that don't use initiative or turn order at all. The most familiar to me, and one of the biggest in terms of popularity outside of the firm grip of D&D, are powered by the Apocalypse game. If lack of initiative is insurmountable to you, it's possible you've never heard of Powered of the Apocalypse games. So let me take a brief moment to introduce you to them after I rub my nose. Powered by the Apocalypse, PBTA, refers to a game design framework that began with the release of the RPG Apocalypse World by Vincent and Maggie Baker in 2010. Since then, it has inspired a whole family of games using similar mechanics and design principles. Rather than being a single game, PBTA is a set of core ideas and structures that can be adapted to many genres. Horror, romance, superhero drama, fantasy, teen angst, and even more. There's a new game within the family being released every day. PBTA systems like Monster of the Week, Apocalypse World, Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Monster Hearts, Urban Shadows, all of these function without rigid turn orders. Instead, gameplay flows back and forth based on fiction, momentum, and narrative beats. The GM doesn't roll dice. Players trigger moves by acting in the action. Combat is more about what's happening than who's next. There's a very clear emphasis on following what the narrative intends and acting within a conversation between all the players and the GM. And you know what? It works. Despite what some of these commenters believe, it works beautifully when the group is on board and invested in this type of collaborative storytelling. And I know from my personal experience that all sorts of people are playing it. Shy players, introverted players, players that are meeting for the first time online. PBTA does not match D&D's reach, but it is a critically acclaimed, highly influential indie darling. So I guess I do understand it, but I am surprised when I see people reacting to Daggerheart's system like it is some radical, untested new experiment bound to be a disaster. Because I know within my own experience that it definitely is not that. It's just new to you. It's not a crime to not know other games, but it is interesting to me. It's expected when one game dominates the scene for so long, and when that's all you're used to, anything that takes a different approach can feel jarring or wrong and take a lot to get used to. This is something that a lot of us who are already in the indie scene have seen from people who are trying some of these games from the first time and they're moving from D&D to a system like PBTA. But the truth is, initiative isn't required for a game to be fun or for it to work well. You can operate with no initiative with shy or inverted people. You can even play with a mix of introverted and extroverted and be perfectly fine. As one comment says, think of it how social encounters are fun without initiative. It seems complicated at first, but it's a really natural way of running things in my experience, DMing with it. It leads to much more fast-paced created combat. And I agree. I myself started with D&D and I did have a lot of fun, but I never really enjoyed combat the way that a lot of other people might have. I never knew that I didn't really like the lack of natural flow to combat or fully understood how bored I would get waiting for my turn until I played something different. Another person chimed in, I think it's okay, buddy, let's do a team combo and we go together. And that's exactly something that is impossible in other games and not so much in D&D, at least not in the same way. Someone else, I started playing Daggerhearts in open beta. I have found it to be a much more dynamic and engaging than D&D. As for combat, you're correct that it's listen to contribute. Combat is much more fluid and thematic. Daggerhearts encourages teamwork on a level that D&D restricts due to being locked into a set initiative order. That looseness is why a lot of people enjoy combat better in some of these other games. One comment that I saw, there are people who like to play TTRPG and there are people who only play D&D. They are entirely different breeds. The second was never going to give this game a go. They only looked at it so they could complain that it's too hard to learn or homebrew. Those comments may seem pretty harsh, but with everything I've seen online, I can't really deny that there does seem to be this division in the scene. I don't think D&D should or is going anywhere. It has a place within the scene and a long tradition and history that I can respect. You can continue D&D and only play D&D, and I will not fault you. Daggerheart may very well not be for everyone. However, it is simply the newest entry to a long list of games and systems that trust players and GMs to navigate the game and combat as a conversation through the narrative and fiction instead of through some formula. I think it's beautiful that shows like Critical Role introduce so many people to D&D and the scene as a whole. And hope with this new game, more and more people will be emboldened to explore new frontiers in the indie space, even if they are feeling unsure at first. We've already been helping D&D players navigate and shift their mentality from a D&D only perspective to new rules and new systems. There are a ton of great games out there. Try Monster of the Week, Masks, Blade in the Dark, Brindlewood Bay. See what possibilities exist. Some of them you're gonna love and some of them you're probably gonna hate. I am on the road exploring right there with you. And that's all for today. I know discourse around this can get a little heated, but I hope I succeeded in showing some nuance and grace for both sides here. As always, you're always welcome to leave your thoughts in the comments. Have fun and stay weird.